Subject of agreement questions are pretty common on SAT. In every English module, we'll see at least one or sometimes two questions that ask about subject of agreement. Now, these questions sound very easy. They're actually easy, but they are equally tricky. Easy because you simply have to identify the verb that goes with the subject. So if the subject is singular, verb has to be singular. If the subject is plural, verb has to be plural. Tricky because many times students fail to identify the right subject and they end up picking the wrong verb. Let's see how to deal with these questions. Let's understand the concept of subject-verb agreement using a question from one of the college bookmarks. The question says which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English. When we look at the answer choices, what we see here is the verbs are changing. Allows, are allowing, have allowed, allow. It means either the question is testing subject-verb agreement or it is testing verb tense. Let's read the text for that. The classic children's board game Shoots and Ladders is a version of an ancient Nepalese game, Parampada Sopanapata. In both games, players encounter good or bad spaces while traveling along the path. Landing on one of the good spaces dash a player to skip ahead and arrive closer to the end goal. Now, definitely the question is not testing verb tense, it is testing subject verb agreement because we have the subject here landing on one of the good spaces, but we do not have a verb. So we need a verb for the subject. So let's understand what is the subject here. So landing on one of the good spaces. So subject here is landing. Now landing is a gerund. Okay, landing is a gerund. Gerund is when an ing verb is used as a noun, that's called a gerund. And gerunds are always singular. So the verb we have here allows, are allowing, have allowed, and allow. Only option A gives you the singular verb. B, C, D, these three, all three of these are plural. So these are wrong. Now, this is the easier way to understand the concept. Now, earlier I told you the concept, the questions can be tricky as well. How these questions can be tricky? Now, if someone says that good spaces is the subject, now this is plural, and then we have three plural answers: are allowing, have allowed, and allow. Now, any of these would work. But the problem is good spaces is not the subject. Now, how do we know good spaces is not the subject? Now, when we have a preposition in a sentence, right? A preposition right before a verb. So this entire thing on one of the good spaces, this is called a prepositional phrase. This is a prepositional phrase, and prepositional phrases cannot be the subject. They can be part of the subject, but they cannot define number for the subject. So singular or plural will not be based on the prepositional phrase. That will be based on the subject that comes before preposition. So good clue here is every time you see subject verb agreement is being tested and you see a pronoun before the blank, ignore everything including the pronoun till you see the verb and the information before pronoun. So in this case, landing is the word we have before pronoun, sorry, before preposition. So we have to work on this. Landing is your subject and allows is the verb. Landing is singular and allows is also singular. So here the right answer has to be option A.